12E-2 type GNMB cable is rated for 90 degrees Celsius. According to section 110.14c of the electrical code, if the terminal or screw to which the wire is connected is rated for 60 degrees Celsius, then the ampacity of the wire must be adjusted to the 60 degrees Celsius ampacity rating. Considering ampacity adjustments for a 60 degrees Celsius terminal, a 12 American Y-gauge wire is typically rated for 20 amps. If the ambient temperature is 30 degrees Celsius, no correction factor is applied to the ampacity. Therefore, the adjusted ampacity for a 12E-2 type GNMB cable connected to a 60 degrees Celsius terminal in an ambient temperature of 30 degrees Celsius would be 20 amps. This means that even though the NMB cable itself is rated for 90 degrees Celsius, the limiting factor is the 60 degrees Celsius rating of the terminal or screw to which it is connected. The ampacity of the cable must be derated to match the lower temperature rating of the terminal. This ensures that the connection does not overheat, which could lead to a fire hazard. When selecting wiring for electrical installations, it is crucial to consider the temperature ratings of both the wire and the terminals to which it will be connected. Always use the lowest temperature rating to determine the appropriate ampacity for the circuit. Using a wire with a higher temperature rating than the terminal does not allow you to exceed the terminal's maximum temperature rating. The goal is to ensure that all components in the circuit are operating within their safe temperature limits. Failure to properly adjust ampacity based on temperature ratings can result in overheating, insulation breakdown, and potentially dangerous electrical failures. It is also important to consult the National Electrical Code, or NEC, for specific requirements and guidelines related to ampacity adjustments and temperature ratings for different types of wiring and terminals. The NEC provides detailed tables and information to help ensure safe and compliant electrical installations. When working with electrical wiring, it is always recommended to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that all work is performed safely and in accordance with local codes and regulations. Incorrect wiring practices can create serious hazards and should be avoided at all costs. In summary, remember that a 12E-2 type GNMB cable is rated for 90 degrees Celsius, but its ampacity must be adjusted to the 60 degrees Celsius rating if connected to a 60 degrees Celsius terminal. In an ambient temperature of 30 degrees Celsius, the adjusted ampacity for this scenario would be 20 amps. Always prioritize safety and consult the NEC for guidance when working with electrical wiring. The NEC is updated regularly to reflect changes in technology and best practices for electrical safety. Staying up to date on the latest code requirements is essential for anyone working in the electrical industry. The NEC also provides information on derating conductors in various conditions. Derating is the process of reducing the allowable ampacity of a conductor based on factors such as ambient temperature, the number of conductors in a raceway, and the type of insulation. These derating factors are designed to protect the conductors from overheating and potential damage. When applying derating factors, it is important to follow the specific guidelines provided in the NEC. Incorrectly applying derating factors can result in undersized conductors, which can overheat and create a fire hazard. In addition to temperature ratings and derating factors, it is also important to consider the voltage drop in a circuit. Voltage drop is the reduction in voltage that occurs as electricity flows through a conductor. Excessive voltage drop can cause appliances and equipment to operate inefficiently or even fail to operate at all. The NEC provides guidelines for calculating voltage drop and recommends that voltage drop should not exceed 3% for branch circuits and 5% for feeders. To minimize voltage drop, it is important to use conductors that are large enough for the intended load and to keep circuit lengths as short as possible. When selecting conductors for electrical installations, it is also important to consider the type of insulation. Different types of insulation have different temperature ratings and resistance to environmental factors such as moisture and chemicals. The NEC provides information on the types of insulation that are suitable for different applications. It is important to use the correct type of insulation for the specific environment in which the conductors will be installed. For example, conductors installed in wet locations must have insulation that is specifically designed for wet environments. The NEC also addresses the issue of conductor identification. Conductors must be properly identified to ensure that they are connected to the correct terminals and to prevent accidental contact with live conductors. The NEC requires that conductors be identified by color coding, marking tape, or other approved means. The specific requirements for conductor identification vary depending on the type of circuit and the voltage level. In addition to the requirements for conductors, the NEC also provides detailed requirements for electrical boxes, raceways, and other wiring components. These requirements are designed to ensure that all wiring components are properly installed and protected. Electrical boxes must be sized appropriately for the number of conductors and devices that will be installed in them. Raceways must be properly supported and protected from physical damage. All wiring components must be listed by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories, or all. The listing mark indicates that the component has been tested and found to meet applicable safety standards. When installing electrical wiring, it is important to follow all of the requirements of the NEC and to use only listed wiring components. This will help to ensure that the electrical installation is safe and compliant with local codes and regulations. The 60 degrees Celsius ampacity rating is very important to keep in mind for safety reasons. By respecting these temperature limitations for the terminals and screws you are connecting to, the electrical connections will not overheat or create a dangerous scenario. Understanding this will allow the 90 degrees Celsius rated wire to be safely connected to the 60 degrees Celsius rated terminal or screw. Electrical code is very important to follow, and there are more aspects to keep in mind than just the temperature ratings, but this is one critical area. Always be sure to check with your local and national regulations to ensure the work is code compliant. It is also advisable to contact a qualified electrician as well, or have the electrician double check your work. Working safely with electricity is paramount and should not be taken lightly. It is not just about a 12-2 type GNMB wire, there are many different types and sizes of wires available. It is also about the different types of screws and terminals available as well, and making sure that they are correctly rated for the application at hand. Firstly, always double check all ratings. Secondly, be sure to have a professional look over the work. Thirdly, take your time. Electricity is not something to rush, and should be given the utmost attention to ensure a safe outcome and installation. Electrical fires are a very real threat and are far more common than people might think. Many of these fires are caused by faulty wiring or incorrect installations. Something like a screw being rated for only 60 degrees Celsius and having a wire connected to it that is rated for 90 degrees Celsius seems like it is not a problem. But when a high load is put on that wire, over time the terminal screw could begin to melt, and that is when the real problem begins. Heat creates resistance, and that is where the losses begin. A good connection that is properly installed will have minimal resistance, and that is what the goal should be. One should aim to have a good, solid, and secure connection at all times. The connection must not be too loose, nor too tight. A loose connection could result in arcing, which generates a lot of heat. A connection that is too tight could damage the wire itself by damaging the strands that make up the wire, thereby reducing the overall ability for the wire to safely carry its rated amperage. An improperly crimped connection can also generate heat. It is not just about screws, there are many other types of wire connections, and it is up to the electrician to determine what the correct connection is for the application at hand. These may include wire nuts, crimped connections, and other types of connections. Soldering is sometimes used as well to help keep a more secure and reliable connection. However, it is not always ideal as it is not as strong as crimping or other means of connecting wires together. It is important to have a very strong physical connection between the wires. Solder can help, but should not be used as the primary means of making the connection. It is very important to use the right tools for the job. Do not try to improperly install a wire using the incorrect tools, as this could result in damage to the wire itself, or worse, damage to yourself. Using the proper personal protective equipment, or PPE, is critical as well. This may include safety glasses, gloves, and other types of protective gear. Safety is the number one concern when dealing with electricity and should always be at the forefront of your mind. Remember, the 60°C terminal rule exists for a reason, and it is there to protect you and your property from electrical hazards. Always follow the electrical code and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns. There are many free resources available online as well, such as the NEC Codebook, which you can often find at your local library. It is also important to understand the difference between ampacity and amperage. Ampacity is the current carrying capacity of a conductor, while amperage is the actual amount of current flowing through a conductor. The ampacity of a conductor must be greater than or equal to the amperage of the circuit it is serving. This ensures that the conductor does not overheat and potentially cause a fire. When calculating the ampacity of a conductor, it is important to consider all of the factors that can affect its current carrying capacity, such as ambient temperature, the number of conductors in a raceway, and the type of insulation. The NEC provides detailed tables and information to help with these calculations. It is also important to understand the difference between grounded and ungrounded conductors. Grounded conductors, also known as neutral conductors, are connected to the earth and provide a return path for current. Ungrounded conductors, also known as hot conductors, carry the electrical current to the load. The NEC requires that grounded conductors be identified by a white or grey colour, while ungrounded conductors can be any colour except white, grey, or green. Green is reserved for grounding conductors, which are used to provide a path for fault current back to the source. Grounding conductors are not intended to carry current under normal conditions, but they are essential for protecting against electrical shock in the event of a fault. The NEC also requires that all electrical equipment be properly grounded. This helps to ensure that any fault current will flow safely back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or fuse and preventing electrical shock. When installing electrical wiring, it is important to follow all of the grounding requirements of the NEC. This includes properly bonding all metal enclosures and equipment to the grounding system. It is also important to use the correct size grounding conductors for the circuit. The size of the grounding conductor is determined by the size of the ungrounded conductors. It is also important to understand the difference between overcurrent protection and short-circuit protection. Overcurrent protection is designed to protect conductors from overheating due to excessive current flow. Short-circuit protection is designed to protect conductors from damage due to a short circuit. Overcurrent protection is typically provided by circuit breakers or fuses. These devices are designed to trip or blow when the current exceeds a certain level. Short-circuit protection is typically provided by fuses or circuit breakers with a high interrupting rating. The interrupting rating is the maximum amount of fault current that the device can safely interrupt. It is important to use overcurrent and short-circuit protection devices that are properly sized for the circuit they are protecting. Using devices that are too small can result in nuisance tripping, while using devices that are too large can allow excessive current to flow, potentially damaging the conductors and equipment. When selecting overcurrent and short-circuit protection devices, it is important to consult the NEC for specific requirements and guidelines. The NEC provides detailed information on the types of devices that are suitable for different applications. It is also important to consider the coordination of overcurrent protection devices. Coordination refers to the selective tripping of overcurrent protection devices. The goal of coordination is to ensure that only the overcurrent protection device closest to the fault trips, minimizing the disruption to the rest of the electrical system. Coordination can be achieved by using overcurrent protection devices with different time current characteristics. Time current characteristics describe the relationship between the amount of current flowing through the device and the time it takes for the device to trip. By selecting devices with different time current characteristics, it is possible to ensure that the device closest to the fault trips first, while the other devices remain closed. This helps to maintain power to the rest of the electrical system and minimizes the inconvenience caused by a fault. In addition to the topics discussed above, there are many other important aspects of electrical safety that should be considered. These include arc flash hazards, electrical shock hazards, and the proper use of personal protective equipment. Arc flash is a dangerous phenomenon that can occur when a high-voltage electrical arc is created. Arc flash can cause severe burns, blindness, and even death. It is important to take precautions to prevent arc flash incidents, such as wearing appropriate personal protective equipment and energizing equipment before working on it. Electrical shock is another serious hazard that can occur when a person comes into contact with a live electrical conductor. The electrical shock can cause muscle spasms, burns, and even death. It is important to take precautions to prevent electrical shock, such as wearing appropriate personal protective equipment and energizing equipment before working on it. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, is essential for protecting workers from electrical hazards. PPE includes items such as safety glasses, gloves, and flame-resistant clothing. It is important to use the correct PPE for the specific task being performed. All PPE should be inspected regularly for damage and replaced as needed.